back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Spiffy McSpiffface. Spiffy McSpiffface. Try and say it. It's a mouthful. You may recognize me as the exact same person who was on with Nite before, and I am bringing you our quarterfinal number 4 today. Joining me is OSS Valor, the most recent addition to the OSS clan. Welcome, Valor. And why don't you go ahead and introduce our first player?
All right, thank you for introducing me, Spiff. On the very top, we have OSS JayWix spawning in as the orange UEF commander, dropping down one air factory right away and getting eco.
All right, I like that. You're showing clan favoritism and color favoritism for the orange player. And down here on the south side, his opponent, spawning in as the teal Aeon player, it is AA Vanady, who has dropped down 2 air factories and is moving his ACU forward towards the center. JayWix Scout comes in and sees all of this and might actually get out alive. Yeah, I think that Scout's going to live.
Maybe he might get him on the slow turn right here. Yeah, it does look like that one Weeda boost will catch up.
Oh yeah, I don't think it was rallied anywhere else after being sent to the corner there. So JayWix does lose his first scout there, but he has dropped down another air factory, and he's going to be catching up pretty soon. He's already expanding his economy just a little bit more than Vanady has. So, a little bit of a slower burn, but he's going to get there.
Yeah, for sure. It does look like JayWix will be getting a forward radar to see if Vanity will be doing any early pushes.
Yeah, both players doing almost exactly the same thing. We do see Vanady queuing up a sneaky engineer going around into the back of JayWix's base. We'll see if JayWix catches on to that. The radar should see that any second now if it doesn't already.
Yeah, and if he is not paying attention, that engineer could do some damage, especially early game. It does look like Vanity will start pushing up further onto JayWix's side.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good move from Vanady, taking as much space in the center as he can before the battle on the land really starts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't be terribly surprised to see him throw down a point defense here just to grab some space. Well, actually, it's JayWix who puts down the first point defense, although it is more on his side of the map, so it's a little bit more defensive.
Yes, it is. Does look like JayWix did get some bombers out to handle the engineer, and Vanity is going around that point defense.
Are we going to see? No, it's not a sacrifice capture, but I think he will be able to complete the capture before these bombers take him out.
Does look like that. Yep. It does look like he is doing the same thing on the right side, sending another engineer out, seeing if he could probably capture that mass extractor.
And he control K's it before the low ground engineer can capture it back. Nice little bit of micro from both players while their ACUs are also clashing in the center. JayWix definitely getting the rougher end of that engagement as well. Forced into another point defense to push Vanity's ACU away. And that's a lot of resources that are now tied up in defenses that can't move.
Oh, for sure. And it does look like Vanity will start transitioning into land, completely stopping his air production, because he knows he's not going to win this early game, especially with how many fighters JayWix has out right now.
Yeah, JayWix has to be careful, though, because if he doesn't continue producing at least, a fighter here and there, or at least scouting out, because, yep, sure enough, those factories are turning back on now. So JayWix might have scouted and noticed they were turned off, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Vanady is done making air.
Yeah. Looks like he just made another engineer out of it. Does look like Vanity will start securing his side full of AA.
Okay, so that does confirm a more of a transition to ground-based AA here. But still, you never know when he might turn those factories back on. So JayWix has to at least keep scouting and make sure that he's safe to keep building bombers.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because if Vanity wants to start building gunships, that'll be very dangerous if JayWix doesn't, catch that really early on.
At this point, I kind of doubt we're going to see Vanity going into gunships if he's going to be transitioning to ground. It's always a possibility. Tech switches are always fun. And there's JayWix throwing in another scout. Good awareness.
Yep.
And Vanity's actually pulled ahead here on the mass extractor count.
Yeah, I think that those early captures with the engineers kind of set JayWix a little bit behind.
Yeah, well, the harass definitely did its job, and I'd say both of those engineers probably the sacrifice was worth it.
Oh, for sure. Does look like Vanity will start putting down a little bit more AA on both sides, just in case JayWix decides to one shot.
And it's JayWix now transitioning into gunships. I think he feels pretty secure to do that after his scout saw those factories were still turned off.
Yeah, especially since that scout saw both land factories pretty much getting built in the center.
And JayWix hoping to turn the tables with his own sneaky engineer coming into the back. Vanity's few remaining fighters move in to defend, and JayWix turns around.
Yeah, that'll be very, very dangerous if he gets hit by both AA.
And meanwhile, Vanity's own sneaky engineer coming in once again on the right-hand side.
This look like JayWix will send his bombers to take care of that, though.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to reveal his gunships quite yet. And I'm pretty sure that Vanity's radar doesn't reach far enough to see them.
Yeah. Those look like Vanity will start really expanding his energy production.
Good chance we'll see teleport.
For sure.
And just looking at the buildings here, Vanity does have 2 research stations that he's built relatively recently. JayWix, however, is still building factories and has built 0 research stations so far.
I think JayWix might be heavily dependent on his broadswords that he's making. Hopefully those will hold Vanity off long enough.
Yeah, I think his strategy at this point is just get a critical mass of them and go in, kill the ACU. Just snipe as quick as possible.
For sure, because that teleport, especially against UEF, is really dangerous.
Well, Vanity has not been making a whole lot of ground firing units, though. Roughly about half of this army, I think, maybe about a third of it, is anti-air.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Only has 5 or 6 tanks in the army and 4 MML.
And gantry coming down by JayWix, so we're going to see AC-1Ks for sure. He's ready. He has revealed those gunships at this point, at least on radar.
Yes, for sure. And it does seem like when Vanity saw those gunships, he did restart his air production. He doesn't want to get too caught up.
I think he's going to lose his air force here, though. Well, both players going down way down on their fighters. Down to 3 fighters.
Yeah, The Vanity's AA did do a lot of damage.
Yeah, those gunships tore through the ground army and didn't take too many losses, but also not quite enough of them yet to really do big damage. And unfortunately, my game is not displaying what is in that air gantry. Fairly certain it's an AC-1K, but I cannot confirm.
Yeah, that is confirmed. It is an AC-1K.
Okay. So really, once that comes out, I mean, even teleport, once there's a few AC-1Ks out, even teleport is not always enough.
Definitely
There's
not.
tons of AA surrounding Vanity's ACU right now, though.
Oh, for sure. Especially with that land. I feel like that land is more dangerous because as it moves forward, it kind of pushes JayWix's Air Force, even more back.
Well, that first AC-1K is out now. Looks like JayWix might wait for another one before moving in with it.
It does look like he will move to the right, though. Maybe to see if he can take out a few mass extractors.
Okay. So it was just a short pause then.
Looks like he's going for Vanity's Engineer on the right.
Well, that's overkill if I ever saw it. Yeah, and unfortunately, JayWix just keeps throwing his fighters into this AA and hasn't been able to catch up on air production since the reset.
Yeah. What JayWix really needs to do is send his land force to take care of all that, AA, but with Vanity's fighter bombers, it's been making it really challenging because his troops just keep getting bombed.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying before. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, I've won air," and then stop making fighters entirely, unless you're paying really close attention to what's being built on the other side of the map. And despite JayWix's best efforts at scouting, he sent scouts across the map regularly, but still there was a point in the game when those air factories got turned back on, and I don't think I saw JayWix send a plane across the map since they got turned back on. So when they finally did come in, and in combination with that anti-air kind of wrecked him, it took him by surprise.
Oh, for sure. It does look like Vanity will start going more into ground firing units, producing a lot of Yenzus. And in return, JayWix is producing AA now.
Yeah, well, now that I'm sure now that Vanity has a better foothold in the air, ironically, he feels safe to throw in more tanks here. These AC-1Ks do finally come in and start doing some damage, though. Not being microed to their biggest potential. There's the teleport right on top of the commander.
Oh, this could be really dangerous for JayWix right now.
But those shields are doing a pretty good job of protecting the commander, and I think the AC-1Ks are going to be able to clean this up before the snipe happens.
Yeah, for sure. There's just not enough. It does seem like Vanity did lose air in that engagement because all the ground AA was focusing on his broadswords, so they were like pretty much a meat shield for JayWix's fighters.
Yeah, and with Vanity's air knocked out, those AC-1Ks, they could go out and do a lot of damage right now. There is quite a bit of AA there. Oh, come on, get this out of there. Repair it.
Oh.
Wow.
So close.
Yeah, JayWix falling behind on the land production for sure. There's tons of land factories and more going up for Vanity.
And who's to say if if JayWix isn't on top of Vanity's ground force, who's to say that that next attempt to snipe won't be successful?
Yeah. I mean, really, if with some good focus fire and some good micro, these AC-1Ks could take care of this blob no problem.
For sure.
As long as the fighters didn't come in, and JayWix has enough fighters, I think, to help out here. He's just sitting these AC-1Ks back, though. I just wish he was, as Nite would always say, just go out there and make some use of your air.
Yeah, that is correct. Vanity has pretty much been focusing on defense on his middle base, not really focusing on the back.
And that's pretty much all of the regular gunships thrown away now. Is he still producing them? Yeah, he is.
Yeah. I mean, they're good for a meat shield.
Yeah, it's just, especially once teleport comes in, regular gunships are not fast enough. Unless they're Aeon gunships, which also have teleport.
Right.
But once again, no focus fire from these AC-1Ks. JayWix still has a lot of fighters.
He does, and he needs to make sure he gets on top of this soon because his land force is getting pretty big. Losing a factory.
That's painful. Alright, finally we see some focus fire here. A little bit out of position.
Getting
One of
two
those
ACs.
two. Oh man. These fighters finally swoop in and do manage to get a number of kills. Oh, but he's got
Those
to keep away from
broadswords.
the AA.
Yeah, they were doing work until they got close to the AA. I feel like what you said earlier, if JayWix goes around, takes out those two air factories that Vanity started with, it could really relieve some pressure, and JayWix has pretty much all the room to move as he'd like.
Yeah, I mean, if he would just take his, well, he doesn't. Does he have any fighters left now? I don't see any. He lost all of them, I think.
Yeah, he did.
When he had more fighters, if he had sent his AC-1Ks around the back to wreck the economy, there would have been just less and less that Vanity could do about it.
Losing another AC1K. Probably gonna lose that fourth one that was in the group earlier.
And Vanity is just slowly and methodically winning this game.
Oh, for sure, because... And there JayWix is calling it GG.
Well, he put up a pretty good fight here, but he's going to have to step it up a notch if he wants to take it to Game 3 and maybe move on in this tournament. But we'll be back with everyone for Game 2 in this best-of-3 series in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. This is Spiffy McSpiffface coming back at you with Game 2 of this best-of-3 series. This is our quarterfinal number 4. And I'm joined by OSS Valor. Valor, why don't you go ahead and introduce our first player?
Alright, so at the top, spawning in as the Teal Aeon Commander, we have AA Vanity, dropping down one land factory and getting all that sweet, sweet eco.
All right, interesting. This is usually a map where we expect to see air openings. And in fact, that's exactly what we see on the other side of the map, where spawning in as the orange UEF player we have OSS JayWix. He's dropped down 2 real fast air factories here, and so his first scout's just getting across the map. He's going to see exactly what is going on in Vanity's base, which is so far very eco-focused, and it looks like it's going to be a fast push up the, I don't know, the center, the closest thing this map has to a land center, I guess, the top leg.
Yeah, now JayWix really has to sit and think, what is he going to do to stop this push? But now he knows that, you know, he's doing a really, really heavy push, especially bringing an engineer with him.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be looking to set up right outside JayWix's base, or at least as far up this this pathway as he can. Yep, right in the center, at least to start out.
Doesn't look like Vanady will expand towards the bottom. JayWix is, so if Vanity doesn't do that quick enough, JayWix could get ahead on some mass, and that could do some really heavy damage.
Yeah. I think there are enough bombers here to, yeah. Vanity just gives up on that radar. I couldn't quite tell if that was a Control K or if the bombers damage over time got it.
Nearly denying the radar twice.
Yeah, he's taking quite a bit of damage from that factory AA, though. And with ground-based AA coming up to reinforce as well, those bombers are just not going to be very effective in the center for very long. And this
Does look like, yeah, you see what JayWix is doing? Looks like he is going to get some MML and try to deny Vanity's push, because he doesn't really have any ground fire units at this time. Trying to expand on that.
Yeah, I like the MML idea, because you want to deny these buildings if you can. But with his ACU retreating as well, he's not going to have anything to push away the tanks. And just now getting a radar himself. Vanity's taking a very aggressive posture here, and I mean, this is kind of the classic wisdom of if you open ground and your opponent opens air, just rush him. Get right up in his face, and put down some anti-air before he gets enough air to really do damage. So far, it's worked out well for him. He's managed to grab a lot of space. Excellent split there, beautiful. Only losing one unit to that bombing run. Yeah, Vanady is basically saying, okay, I'm up one game in the series, and I want to win it right now.
Exactly. Now, what I noticed is that JayWix didn't finish building his second energy generator, so if he's not paying attention, he could run out of energy fairly quickly.
Yeah, and already, I mean, his air factories are off. He's only got one factory actually producing units right now, so it's going to be a minute before he runs out, but another factory added on top of that is just going to use up the energy that much faster.
For sure. It does look like JayWix is pushing up a sneaky engineer on the left, seeing if he could do anything with that engineer.
And if Vanity's too caught up on the front lines, this engineer might get away with murder. Just a few tanks coming out for JayWix as well now, but it looks like he's pretty much lost all of his air. That engineer trying to get a capture off, but Vanity's running and running and running.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, Vanady doesn't even seem to notice the engineer. He's just sent his own. If you hold shift, his own is just on a build path right now.
Oh, for sure. Making sure he gets an AA down. It does look like he is going to try and cap the factory. If Vanity isn't paying attention, that could be really, really bad for Vanity.
Yeah, and see, this is one of the dangers of having a factory that's only producing one type of unit. I often like to have my factories, all of my factories produce 2 tanks, 1 artillery, or whatever proportion I'm looking for. And the capture does go off. I would love to see some engineers pop out and start sacrifice capturing all things around it.
For sure.
Vanady is sending an engineer back here.
If JayWix can get that sat capture on that approaching engineer, he's pretty much going to deny Vanity that defense. And it does look like he will get it.
Oh, beautiful. This sneaky little move is turning into a disaster in the back of Vanity's base, and Vanady has no option at this point but to push right into JayWix's face and try to end the game now. Oh man. And
It's gonna be very disastrous.
oh man. Vanady is in big trouble right now if he does not manage to do damage. And he's pushing into factory shields and a point defense, and not a big army, but
Yeah,
the ACU,
Vanity's pretty much on the lifeline right now.
JayWix has built a few more energy generators, so fortunately he's not going to run out of resources. And yeah, I mean, he's pretty much got this game in the bag, I think, if he can just stop this push.
For sure.
Another factory shield goes up. Vanady retreating with his ACU. He does not have an engineer nearby to heal it. Oh, there is one right there. Never
Cluster
mind.
bombs on the bombers, getting a considerable amount of units.
And then he throws the bombers away.
Yeah.
And Vanity right now is trying to run 3 factories off of just one mass extractor, and he is not producing any units at all. JayWix has turned his air factories back on, and we're seeing some more bombers. And I think he's stopped the push. I think he's done it.
Oh, for sure. Especially with that PD. There's nothing he can really do at this moment. Besides wait for the MMLs to take out the factory.
Vanady sends his ACU forward once again into the PD fire. He's down in the red. He decides to turn around. Ooh, the factory does go down.
Vanity getting away with a split of health. Does look like JayWix is sending in his bombers to finish Vanity off. Not quite getting him. One more run should do it.
And
he can get off in time.
The tanks don't manage to kill the engineer though, so now Vanity's going to have a chance to repair that ACU. There's only the point defense on the ground to defend right now, and that goes down to MML fire. The bombers come in and don't manage to kill anything. The sneaky engineers, meanwhile, have arrived at the the last remaining stronghold of Vanity here, and that's a sacrifice capture, isn't it? Yep.
Yep.
Vanity calls good game. That was really entertaining to watch.
It was very sneaky from JayWix.
And that means that JayWix has managed to tie up this series, and we will be going to Game 3, which we'll be coming right back with in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, for Game 3 of this quarterfinal number 4. This is Spiffy McSpiffface coming at you on the map Desolatia, and I'm joined here by Valor. Valor, why don't you go ahead and introduce our first player?
Alright, so in the top left, spawning in as the orange UAF commander, we have OSS JayWix, dropping down an air factory and going straight for that second factory, which is going to land, and going for his eco.
Alright, and his opponent, spawning in as the teal Aeon player, it is Vanady, who has opted to go for just a single land factory at the moment, and looks like he'll be moving his ACU up. Very similar kind of opening to the last game, except for JayWix has not gone for double air. Nite will be disappointed because he predicted that JayWix would open double air again. He also predicted a shotja rush from Vanady, but we have not yet seen that so far. Just one tank has popped out, and an anti-air tower on that factory as well. Looks like JayWix is going to be making a land play as he moves an engineer towards the center. Nite was also commenting that engineers have been winning a lot of games recently, and Certainly was a lot of fun with engineers on that last map. This is another map known for some engineer shenanigans. Wouldn't you say, Valor?
Oh, for sure. Especially with how many lanes you can get by. If you're not paying attention, one engineer can just ruin your day.
Especially with the amount of action typically in the center with the short rush distance on this map.
Oh, for
And
sure.
that's what we're going to see here as both players move forward.
Does look like JayWix is trying to get a radar up. Doesn't. Up there it goes.
And again, we see a lot of ground-based anti-air. Few of those units stuck back in the base.
Yeah, that could be not very good.
Actually, that could be a blessing in disguise, because if the air comes along and bombs your base, you got a couple of anti-air units there.
As long as they're not clumped up.
Right. Which of course they would be, humping that engineer.
Oh yeah, does look like JayWix is being a little aggressive this time, going back a little bit, trying to cover as much ground as he can early game.
I wonder if he's going to try to put down another point defense, because it does seem like he's been relying quite a bit on those.
For sure, but then he has to be really careful, as you know, point defense pretty much outranges any other point defense.
Vanady has really not done much to expand his eco. He's only just now sending an engineer to the back. He's queued up 2 mass extractors and an anti-air tower, which is going to eat up quite a bit of mass as well.
For sure, and here's a little recipe for disaster for Vanady in the middle. He doesn't have as many ground firing units as JayWix does.
And his commander makes it down into the yellow. And oh, what a bombing run! How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 land units going down in that bombing run. Absolutely devastating. Or was it 5?
It was 4, I do believe. Looks like JayWix is trying to end this game quickly. Oh, another good bombing run.
Oh, and the unit's just sitting there in the damage over time area.
JayWix also losing a considerable amount of units,
And
but I don't think it's much. Yeah, Vanady doesn't have a shield on that factory yet.
He does have an engineer healing him, and his... Oh, there's the shield now.
There it goes.
JayWix queuing up another point defense here. That factory shield about halfway down now. Vanady needs to get out of there.
For sure,
because he does move behind the factory.
Yeah, JayWix just brought more reinforcements. Pretty much just taking out the little resistance Vanady had.
Yeah, Vanady attempted a sacrifice capture on one of those point defenses, but I don't know if that was the right move, because now he has nothing nearby to heal his ACU. And these tanks are moving in.
For sure, I do not think Vanady is going to get away from this.
No, he's down to 1,000 health. And that's it. Wow. JayWix pulls it out, come from behind victory, goes 2-1 to take this best of 3 and move on to our semi-final round. Vanady put up such a good fight, gave us a wonderful showing in game 1. I really enjoyed watching this series. This was great.
Yeah, it was.
All right, well, we're going to be taking a little bit of a break here, and we're going to come back with our first semifinal round. I don't remember the time offhand. I think it might be... well, we'll check with Nite. He'll put up a timer for you guys, and we'll be back with our next semifinal round, so don't go anywhere.
If you're still watching, give a thumbs up to this video. If you liked the video, leave a comment. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you are blown away by it, check out my Patreon page. This has been Nite. Take care and peace out.